Dawn, thanks for keeping us on our toes. We were just a couple of minutes late. Eamon was telling me what happened to his paper shredder, and yeah, just phoned in. So I'm going to drop a couple of, I'm going to share the link. Yeah, here we go. So just seen us went live. Let me mute that. There we go. Cool. So guys, if you are watching this video, if you could drop a like, let us know where you're watching from. It really helps kind of us feel like we're not talking no one, and it just helps Facebook send out this notification via its algorithm. So I'm going to do that. So, Mr. McCaffrey.
Good evening, sir.
How the devil are you?
I'm tired. I am tired. There is, we are 15 days into December. It has been somewhat of a busy month. I am a couple of grand shy of beating last year's December total, and we're only halfway through this December, so it is good. So all my problems are good problems, and it's hard to complain without people thinking, oh, it's just a low-key flex or you're just trying to brag. But yeah, I did have a couple of people say, here, Eamon, do you think it's wise trying to produce a course and launch it at the tail end of Q4 when you are trying to manage your own warehouse and do all that, where you've just recently got married and this, that, and the other? And my attitude was, my life's never any quieter, so might as well do it when I'm busy, because if you want something done, you ask a busy man, because he'll get it done. So course is finished. There's some editing still to be done of the last module, so we're not releasing all the modules tonight. But if you can get through all the content and learn it back to front of what is released tonight by the time the second ones are released, I'll be really impressed. So yeah, I'm good. I'm tired. I'm buzzing for the meetup in Manchester on Friday, because it's sort of my reward. It was my end-to goal for the last little while. Just on the sort of topic of how busy I am, I got one of my admin VAs was booking my collections in for UPS last night. And I was like, for the crack, check how many units we put out today. 1,925 units prepped in 7 hours. And that wasn't even...
That's a good effort, man. That's a good effort.
It wasn't 2,000, no, but... and it wasn't even if it was 500 or something and 600 or the other. It wasn't as if we did like 3 pallets of advent calendars you could bang out in an hour. It was genuine wholesale. So it was 30 of this, 40 of that. And there was shrink wrap and stuff involved. So yeah, it was tremendous effort. I had my niece in the shed yesterday. She is 16 and she is a slave driver and she keeps everybody else on their toes. So it was noticed. But yeah, I am very well. Who is in Denver that's chatting to us? Because I can't see any names.
So let's have a look. Thanks. Yes, Dawn. Dawn's recently just joined us on Blueprint, so you're very welcome, Dawn. You got a shout out at the very start of the live, because 1 minute past 7, you were asking for a link, so fair play to you. Yeah, so thanks for tuning in, guys. Liam, Natalie, Sashi, Julie, Colorado. Awesome. So yeah, thanks for joining in, guys. This is going to be valuable. And, yeah, you know all the right things to say, Liam, don't you? Yeah, feeling pretty not struck. I wouldn't say strung out, but yeah. What is it they say? People don't fail, systems do. So
yes,
last kind of 6 weeks, it's been a real stress test for systems that we're running, and yeah, everything's running pretty lean. Not close to them, but yeah, pretty lean and optimal, I would say. So looking forward to heading across to Manchester tomorrow and meeting up with a few people on Friday. It's going to be good fun.
Yeah, so I am buzzing for it.
Yeah, cool. I'm actually just gonna have a video. Yeah, so
people. Good.
Yeah, thanks for joining, guys. How are you, Ian? How's it going, Mark? Good man.
From Oma.
Mark. From Colorado, Denver, and Oma. Good man.
all the capitals of the world. Yeah. So, Lloyd, enough fluff. Let's get talking.
Down the brass tacks.
Damn right. People are here for one thing. Yeah, so I think we have made some level of noise on Facebook and social media over the last couple of weeks. We are launching a wholesale course. It has always been a natural progression. It wasn't, that's a lie. My notion was I was going to start doing RA, build up a bit of money, do a wee bit of OA, and then go into private label and start importing stuff from China. And it all seemed overly complicated, and somebody had already private labeled a garlic crusher, so I couldn't think of what else to do. So it just got to the point where I stuck with what was easy. I'm not overly educated. I find something that works well, and I just beat it to death. I was talking to somebody the other day about businesses in Amazon, and they're like, "How long do you stick at this?" And I'm like, "Till it's not profitable." And I used the analogy, well, I don't know if it's an analogy, but the example of Jeremy Clarkson. And I'm pretty sure if you'd have said to Jeremy Clarkson 10 years ago, "Here, lads, in a couple of years' time, you're going to be making the bulk of your money from growing vegetables on a farm," he'd have laughed at you. Where Top Gear, Great Roadshow, or whatever they call that one, Grand Tour, Top Gear sort of ended for him, and he just diversified and moved into something else and took up a new business model and went for it. So private label never really took off for me. It just seemed overly complicated. I'm not the most creative in the world. I love my logistics, which is why wholesale appeals to me, but the whole design in a product that I was so passionate about, I'm like, I'm not passionate about products, I'm passionate about processes. So I get into wholesale out of necessity. I got suspended. I was selling cosmetic items that I bought job lot off eBay country. Amazon suspended me, and my dad pretty much just said, "Listen, if you're going to do this, have it, just start doing it legitimately and buying direct from brands and wholesalers. And then when they ask you for an invoice, she'll have them." And it's what I did. And I've said it so many times before, sometimes the worst hand you can be dealt turns out to be the absolute ace. Because our good friend in Smith's Toys of Newry is an absolute gentleman who, on my first Christmas out, I was for walking in with an envelope to hand it to him as a thank you. And he just completely lit on me because I had bought too many LOL dolls the night before, and he was raging. And ever since that, he's had a distinct spite against me. So I can't buy anything out of Smith's locally because it just can't happen. Even my brothers are banned. So I was like, "Well, stuff you." And I am now buying from the Smith supplier. And I had the rep for that company in my kitchen 2 months ago. And he gave me a list. And beside it, an asterisk was "not for Smiths." And they were brands, big brands, that were deliberately saying the likes of Smiths couldn't have their products because they wanted to manipulate global markets. And I'm now buying from them. So it was brilliant. I had been trying to get in with the supplier for an absolute ages. And it's so funny because one of the things we're going to talk about in the offer, that account that I got opened, I spoke to a couple other people at the trade show about this company, and they all got knocked back. I had a one-to-one client with me, and we were walking around, and she was like, "I don't know how to open an account." And we walked up to that stall, and she now has an account with them too. And the first wholesale account that she opened is, in my opinion, the best one she could have. And she was like bumbling and faffing about. He had told her flat out no. And I was like, "So, Gaelic football?" And we chatted for 20 minutes about everything under the sun except Amazon, and then walked away with an account. But yeah, where is people messaging from? I've lost track. Mohammed, good evening. Liam, hello. Ian, great. So
We're pretty well represented for Europe, America, and well, I suppose Tenerife is still Europe, but it's not quite Africa. So yeah, a few people from Asia as well. So yeah, awesome.
we get about.
We get about it.
I'm going to go off topic here. Osman, if I'm saying that right. If you're in Manchester, what are you doing Friday evening? Lloyd, extend the olive branch and invite him round for a couple of beverages and some nibbles.
So this meetup that I've carefully choreographed with negotiating COVID guidelines and trying to get 2 venues on the busiest evening of the year. You're cold inviting everyone else. Yeah, let's do it. We will. We're all meeting up in Manchester on Friday, and we have 18, 19 people now. So yeah.
I've been DMing people flat out inviting them, so that could be 40. Sorry.
Yeah, doesn't. Yeah. I think we're going to have some choice words in this flight tomorrow morning. So yeah, all good fun. So guys, if you've got any questions, I think kind of the structure, we're going to talk a little bit, invite you guys to ask questions about wholesale, what we are launching. Eamon will talk through what he's spent countless hours on. I mean, Lara, who works part of iGen, is based in the Philippines. Super efficient client accountability manager, client success manager, and Eamon was on the phone there flat out this morning at kind of 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. So I think he's had about 5 hours sleep, like that. And
3.5.
3.5.
3.5, yeah. I did plan a lie in this morning. Only builders that I didn't think were coming today were like, we need cement, open the shed. So I had to get up an hour earlier. So I was unfortunate, but needs must. So yeah, I have developed this course out. It is on brand with our other blueprints. So we've got the Amazon arbitrage blueprint, which is predominantly online arbitrage based with some topics of retail arbitrage. It just sort of seemed the next step would be Amazon wholesale blueprint, and Luke asked me to write it because I don't think Luke would know what a wholesaler is. He's too busy running around the world and meeting Gary V and the likes, where he's like, here, Eamon, you actually do a bit of work. Maybe you could write this course. So yeah, I love wholesale because, and I know David was slagging me about spinning around the yard in forklifts, which is a lot of fun, but there's something really real about seeing pallets of stuff coming in and out of the shed and doing it at that volume. I have a packet of, I think it's from Look Fantastic, a couple of lip glosses or something, and they've been sitting in my back hall now for 2 weeks because I couldn't be bothered bringing them into the shed because I hate doing away orders. Some great margins in them, and if you look at the likes of Mr. Parkinson, there is fantastic numbers and profits to be made, but they're just so bitty. Like 3 of this, 4 of that, whereas I have one item going out tomorrow and it'll be 500 units and it'll be prepped in about an hour and a half because it's just 24 in a box, 14 boxes to a pallet. Make out all your boxes, label all your items into the box, tape them, strap them, layer them up, bang, done. Henry will have them on a lorry by 1:30 tomorrow, and it's so easier to scale. Like, I think anybody that knows how late I have been at replying to messages to them, I'm not the most organised person in the world. Hence why I'm messaging Laura at 3 a.m. But with wholesale, if you order one order and it's 2 pallets of stock and 1,500 units, you don't have to be the best at sourcing. If you get 1 or 2 good items from a wholesaler and you fill the rest out with just okay items, you can still put in a brilliant order. If you get 5 or 6 core wholesalers and you're putting an order in with them once a month, if even once every 2 months, you can easily, that can be a full time by, if you have the space to prep them, take a day or 2 a week to prep, a day or 2 a week to source, and then 1 day to sort of manage everything. Yes, that'll be a full-time job, but when I first started wholesale, it was back in the 3K challenge with Luke. I had 1 VA and I couldn't understand why I wasn't really skilled and doing all this here, and I took another VA on, and then I realized what my problem was. I was trusting my first VA too much, and I don't think he knew the difference from night and day. So once I took on a couple more VAs and really spent time with them and sourcing for wholesale, it was just, we rock at it. So I genuinely, I'm not all that passionate about it. It pays the bills. I understand it. I like sourcing. Wholesale, I love the crack. I love the fact that at 10 o'clock on Saturday night, I was WhatsApping the sales rep going, lad, I know my order is due here Monday morning. But any chance I could get these on Tuesday? And he's like, I'll personally deliver them to you because I know what you're at. So yeah, I love it. Lloyd, shall we look at sharing my screen and talking through it, or is there a couple of questions or anything we want to touch on first?
Yeah, let's do that. We'll answer questions after we kind of run through it. And I think you kind of talk about numbers that you're kind of generating a little bit towards the end as well, just to validate this. I was messaging someone on Instagram yesterday, actually. It's quite interesting. Someone anonymous, and he was asking me for sales figures to kind of justify something. So obviously, at the end of the day, wholesale. Yeah, I know. Wholesale is going in.
I noticed something. I'm not going to say any names because if I do, it'll sound very poor form of me. But I was watching somebody earlier on Instagram, and they were selling a course, and they were talking about, how far they've come, and they were doing really well. And I was sitting looking at it, and they were talking about, what they turned over in a month. And I was going, I've done that today. And it really made me feel good. And I know that makes me look so poorly, but it made me feel really good because at the back of my mind, sometimes I'm like, I'm producing a course and I know there's people doing tens of millions a year on Amazon and I'm not. And who am I to produce this course? But then when I look at other people that are teaching people mad dog nonsense, I'm thinking going, I will actually give this away free to some people because I want to help them. Because some of the information people are given is horrendous.
I think the other thing to kind of talk about as well a little bit in terms of our marketing, I mean, 99% of it is Facebook. And I think the big thing with iGen and everyone else on Facebook is that, one of our core values is extreme integrity. So we're very transparent, we're very available, and, you'll ask us a question, you'll get a straight answer. Whereas there's a lot of behind the kind of curtain. There's a lot of people on Instagram who you'll never know who they are. There's a lot of people on Twitter as well, seemingly, that I've seen. And like you say, comparison. One of your favorite phrases, Eamon, is comparison is the thief of joy. So you need to run your own race. But at the end of the day, if you're going to take direction from someone, you want someone to have walked the path that you want to have walked first.
Yeah.
So Eamon will talk a little bit about numbers. Towards the end. And if you have any questions, certainly drop them in, and we'll answer every question before we finish this live. I think I've no other plans this evening apart from to pack for tomorrow. So I'm happy to do that. I know you've got coaching and things, but cool. So let's get this screen share started. Just counting down. So this is a little bit awkward, so I'm going to tip out of this. I'll let Eamon take over. So I need to have this.
Cool. I'm pretty sure that shouldn't be a blank screen light. I'm going to stop sharing.
No.
And I'm going to go to share screen again. We were too keen in this one, and we done it too early.
We were.
Windows. I'm going to remove that. Here we go. So let me see if I can zoom this in a bit. Apologies if I'm not on best form tonight, but simply speaking, when Lloyd dips out, it's just me sitting talking to myself. I can't really see or hear anybody. When we say really, I mean I can't. So what I've done is I have looked at a lot of different courses. I have thought about my own process. and I've thought about the questions that I get asked quite regularly within the realms of wholesale. And from that, I've tried to develop a course that I think is incredible value for money. We have had, since about Halloween, 5 beta testers that have been bombarding me with questions and feedback and sort of giving me tips on what they want to know from wholesale. They have been going through some of the content. Our plan is to have, so we released the first 5, they got it at a different price. The next 20 clients then get it at this price, and then once we get past them 20 clients, it will begin up significantly again. So as of today, by my understanding, there is 17 spaces left. So if they go tonight, they're gone tonight. If they take 3 or 4 months to sell, that price will remain until them 17 spots are done. Not trying to say that, buy it tonight or else. I'm just simply saying that is how we're structuring this. First thing you get is a blueprint similar to the one that any of our AAB clients would have. So it's a series of step-by-step videos. On the last count, it was 84 videos. I did not sit and add them all up. I would imagine it's 3 or 4 hours of screen time. But what I've done is, it's very matter of fact. There's no 10 minutes at the start where I talk about how amazing wholesale is. There's no me talking about this one time the lorry came. There's none of that. It's you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this, bang, done. So what in some videos could be an hour, with me it might be 10 or 12 minutes. If you say you've watched the entire course in a day and you're like, I know it all, I'm calling nonsense on that, because you simply don't. There's a lot of detail in this. It's going to take a lot of time to get to it. So the first thing is the pre-recorded videos. So that's your first point of contact. We then have additional supporting documents. So email templates, phone call conversation templates, rebuttals, list of suppliers. They're all there. So first thing is core program. So grab lifetime access to the entire step-by-step program. I'm not going to read all this out, but simply videos that tell you how to do everything step by step. That's everything from making sure you've got a proper bank and company set up, website, to how to approach suppliers. I then have included certain Google Sheets and documents, and they're what I use to place an order. I spoke briefly last week, for anybody that wasn't on the call, about we spent 100 man hours on building our order with one supplier. I believe it was 4,400 lines. We ordered 80 different ASINs from it, and it took 100 hours to put that order together. The following time round, it took 10 to 12 hours to build out, and I was like, great, that's such a saving on time. And then I was like, shouldn't have taken that long. And I spent a 1 hour call on the phone with my wholesale manager, and I realized the way he was going about it, I just assumed he was doing it my way, and he wasn't. So talked him through that, which is what became our replenishable process, which is what's also included in the course. And now he can build a wholesale order out of replenishables and new lines in about 2 to 3 hours. I'll spend 20 minutes going through it. If there's any new lines on it, I'll give them a once over, check the numbers, and bang, done. So I spend maybe about half an hour now on a wholesale order. I have 3 wholesale orders out the door this week, and I have another 4 inbound, which I'm a wee bit nervous about, because knowing my luck, they'll all land Friday morning when I'm in Manchester, but it's all right. I have people here that can receive it. Just for some sort of context, I had 5 pallets out the door this morning. I will have at least another 2, if not 3, out tomorrow. And that's just the sort of volume that I'm doing. It's busy time of year. So on top of the pre-recorded videos, you're then getting weekly live calls, same as with the OA course. So if you're having an issue with the supplier, if something's not working right for you, if you've got product stuck in stranded inventory, I'm there to help talk you through it. I'm not for 1 minute saying I know absolutely everything about Amazon. Jeff Bezos doesn't even know that. Amazon doesn't know what they're doing some of the time. But I'm quite well versed, and I live and breathe this every day. And if I don't know the answer, I can give a pretty good direction as to where you should be going. You then will have a one-to-one support call with me about 3 months in. You can have it the following day if you want, but you're not going to get value for money out of it. Wait until it's like a lifeline within Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Wait until you're a wee bit stuck. Wait until you're wanting a bit of direction once you find your feet. And then I'll help you set out a strategy of where you want to go in the next 6 to 12 months and give you a target of how to get to there. I will then be following up with you on accountability, on the weekly calls. Liam will be sending out accountability emails going, hey, where are you? You said you wanted to do 50,000 in the next month. What have you done to achieve that target? Let me move our screen down a little bit. List of wholesale suppliers. Yes, some of these are available on the internet. Yes, go to the NEC, you can get a black book and get some of them there. We actually have included a PDF copy of the little black book simply because with COVID now they've done that and it makes it a lot easier to access some of the suppliers. I do know that, well, I can say a little coy trick that I've done on a couple of occasions is use the contact information from that, phone them up and be like, hi guys, meant to get down to NEC, messages, really want to open an account, let's talk business. Or be like, yeah, I was talking to the guy at the stand the other day, can't remember his name, lost his card, but he said he would be able to get me an account open, so he said to phone this number. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's all about how so charismatic and confident you can be in the phone, but we talk you through that. We've got templates to show you how to approach a phone call, how to get past gatekeepers, how to build up rapport in the phone, how to milk the first person that answers the phone for tons of information, so the second person you speak to, you sound as if you have an authority to be speaking to them. Lloyd just dropped the sign up link in the chat, I noticed. So lifetime access to our Facebook group. A Facebook group's only really going to be as active as its members. So when we first start off, there's not going to be that many members in it. It's not going to be the most wild group on Facebook, but it serves a professional purpose. It serves if you've got a problem, you can ask a question, somebody can help you out. Whether that be, hey, where can I get boxes from, to who's the best person to use for pallet collections, to what's the maximum weight I can put in this box of these dimensions, things like that there. Brass tacks. If you want social stuff, yes, I can send you plenty of memes, but that usually ends up in me getting suspended on Facebook, so I just stick to basic information and facts. Let me move down through this. Hot product lists. So hot product lists, I've literally went through every category on Amazon and I pulled out 10 ASINs that are all being sold by people that are sourcing wholesale. Categorically saying that these items are not all profitable. Some of them are Tommy Tippy baby items that Amazon's selling. They're ranked 100 in baby category and you're never going to make profit on them. But it gives you an indication of the sort of items that people are selling wholesale. There's everything from baby's bottles to garden taps and everything in between, whatever in between a baby's bottle and garden tap would be. I was speaking to a guy who does wholesale recently, and I was saying, thinking of looking at other markets, the UK is getting a wee bit saturated. And he laughed and he rhymed off all the categories I was selling. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, yeah, I know, because they're the saturated categories. And he rhymed off with several other categories that I've only selling a couple items in. And he's like, you're not really selling much in them, are you? And I'm like, no. And he's like, yeah, if you were, you'd be doing a couple of million a year. And I was blown away. There were things that I just completely overlooked. And now I've opened 3 new accounts with one of those categories. And I'm in the middle of building out an order for one of them. And like one item is selling 400 units a month at 30% margin, and it classifies as small and light. And I'm just sitting looking at it going, how did I never say that? It's so obvious. It's an item you use every day of the week. Accountability program. Again, I am here to hold you to accountable, nail you to the wall and be like, right, you said you're going to do this. Let's do this. What are you doing? Most of this information you can probably Google. There's tons of YouTube videos. There's tons of other free content out there. You'd figure it all out. What you're paying for your money is the accountability, your access to me, my knowledge. Like I was in shed today. My nephew was off school and I was asking him to do stuff. And we have a ladder for getting up to the top of the pallet racking. And he had left it sitting out a wee bit. And I was like, no, move that in, look at the space. And he's like, oh, I was going to do that now. And I was like, you're not understanding that the health and safety issue. And he's like, yeah, how is it? I'm like, everything I'm telling you is because I physically hurt myself because I haven't done that. And it's the same with this course. There's so many things. Like earlier this year, I took a punt. I bought 3 pallets of used books. I thought, great, used media, best thing on Amazon. I'll make a ton of this. It probably cost me £1,000. There has been so many different things that I've tried that have failed. There's been many things that I've tried that went successfully, Amazon being one of them. Within Amazon, like there was cleaning products, cleaner here today, and I was giving them away for free. Of like, I want them gone, just please take them. Not every item is going to be a winner. And this is what I want to try and instill into the clients of the course is, here is all the points where I screwed up. Here's what I done, and here is the consequences. Don't do this. Here is what I then followed it up with, and that was successful. Please do that. Like I've said on a couple of lives before about doing the 3K challenge with Luke, where Al Carton lent both of us £3,000 a piece. And at that point, I realized that just because I was turning over money didn't mean I was making any money. And it was a very cold, hard slap in the face to wake me up to my numbers. And now I live and breathe numbers. And it's really bizarre when you're doing calls with people and you're talking through different numbers and they're like, I don't know. I'm like, how did you buy that item without knowing that number? So I'm very much about, please listen, I'm here to help. I used to be a teacher. It frustrates me when I know I can help somebody and they're not listening or they're not taking the help. And it's on me, but I really do love enjoying helping people. So you've got the video calls, you've got the accountability, you've got the weekly lives, you've got the one-to-one support with me, you've got examples of wholesale items that are selling ridiculously well on Amazon, and now the list of wholesale suppliers. Everything you need to get started. So you bought that, you've got that, you've got started. Now let's help you get going, because getting started is one thing, anybody can get started, but getting going. So we have custom order tools. So as I said, I have designed my own Google Docs. Not saying it's a big fancy software, it's not. It's Google Docs with built-in algorithms or formulas, so that if you're putting in, you're ordering 3 cases of this, well, then it knows how many's in the case, knows your cost price per case with that, all in, numbers you sold last month, brings it all out, estimated turnover, estimated margin, actual price now, what price you're going to sell it at, and what your expected ROI is, time frame for getting your money back, and projecting it all out. So perhaps not the most glamorous way of calling it, but a poor version of the USS. But USS is £500, and this is a bonus thrown into this course. I don't put in a wholesale order without this. And the reason for it is the columns are in a particular formula so that the whole thing works out, and then you just copy the first 6 lines, drop it into Excel, email that to your rep, and that's your order done. So then when it comes to building out your order, when coming to prep, you can forward that document onto your prep center or your warehouse staff, and you're like, right, here's the items you ordered, here's how many units, here's if it's in a bundle, and all the information is in one document, and you only need to take a tiny section of that to send it to the supplier. It means you can build orders ridiculously fast. You can check what you ordered against what arrived. You can check for any discrepancies. You know if it's meant to be a 3-pack or a unit, and just tons of information, and it's right there, bang, done. Then you're replenishing your order. We have got the replenishable template. So it engages with Seller Toolkit, for warning on that one, but it's the process that I use for building out replenishables, and like it's just fantastic. It makes it so much quicker. You can identify, so if you know that right in the last month I sold 30 units, great, but they sold out in 20 days. So roughly, if you're selling 30 units in 3 weeks, 10 a week, probably need to order 40 units this month. And it's just that sort of thing. Now, we all know that, no great battle plan has ever survived contact with the enemy. I think that's the quote. Simply saying, you can never have exact fulfillment or exact numbers or quotas of a inventory management, simply because I sent one item in the other day at Amazon, and a customer after went live bought 20 units of it. There's no way to account for that. But it does try and account for your averages so that you can order just enough. I have been watching a lot of other sellers. I'm a bit of a lurker. I will sit and I watch. And one person I noticed recently was having some problems and talking through them, and they were sitting on mountains of stock and they were just ordering far too much. They were getting it wholesale and ordering far, far too much. And I'm like, but you have 4 months supply of an item. Why? If you can have that delivery here every 2 weeks, there's 8 deliveries that you're ignoring to buy that one item. And yes, you might be getting it a penny or 2 a unit cheaper, but your cost of opportunity and the capital tied up is craziness. So there's things like that identified as well. So you only want to be ordering enough to do you to the next order. We then have product validation checks. So again, within the OA course, we offer this. Within wholesale, this is slightly different because you have to look at the dynamics of the other sellers. There are sellers that I go up against with 70,000 reviews, and they will share the buy box all day long, and they are absolute sweethearts to deal with. And then you go up against sellers with maybe 1,000 reviews, and the minute you come on the list, they will nail you to the wall. And it's about looking at how their behavior of that individual seller will affect what way you source that item. So it could be great margin on it, it could be selling really well, but it's going in and looking at the behavior of other sellers to see how that's going to affect your sourcing behavior. There's no point buying a pallet of an item if you know that one seller, when you come on the listing, will crash it to 10% below break even until you go away, which some sellers will do. I've seen them do it. I've had it done to me. So we will talk you through that. We will show you how to look at analysing your competition, test them out, seeing what they're doing, seeing is it worth competing against them. Some of them you will be able to compete against in some items, others you won't. Partnership. So I think anybody that's been on Facebook in the last week will have seen Lloyd prattle on about his precious affiliate program. But realistically, you can get anywhere between 30 and 40% affiliate commission if you're a client. So if you manage to get 4 people to sign up, that covers the cost of your course back. Considering you can write the entire course off as a tax write-off anyway, you can effectively double your money. So the partnership, while as much as I might jest Lloyd about it, it is an incredible opportunity to get very easy revenue. Now, it's not for me to say that you're going to sign 3 people up each week off this. It's not. It's an expensive course, and people aren't going to just sign up through your say-so. But if you're walking the walk, if you're saying, "Hey, I started 4 months ago, I was doing 10,000 a month turnover. I'm now doing 25,000 a month turnover. This has revolutionized my Amazon selling." It's a pretty good endorsement for somebody that's sitting going, "Yeah, I'm struggling with OA, and I bought another set of shampoos from Boots, and somebody's tanked the listing." So I'm not saying those problems don't happen in wholesale. In fact, it can happen at a much larger scale, but you start finding that you are dealing with a lot larger numbers. Like, I was speaking to somebody the other night, and their budget for getting started was what I just spent in sellotape that day. And I was like, I'm really privileged to the position I've got to now, because I can take things like that for granted. I'm going to be really sad and tell you that I went into the local hardware shop today and spent £27 on 2 shovels and put it as a business expense. And I was like, isn't it great that I can just do that and I will never notice that £27, where a couple of years ago I'd have been like, I'll just buy 1 shovel. And it's amazing, and wholesale has provided me that opportunity that I just wouldn't have done it without it. Getting back on track with this, after the partnership, trade show, walk around. I will not name names here, but there was one individual who I have had as a one-to-one client for the past couple of months. When I first started speaking to them, they were on the verge of giving up. They had a couple of bad experiences with prep centers and virtual assistants. I got them turned around. They are now doing month on month their best months ever. They are in a brilliant position in Amazon. I met them at the NEC for the autumn fair, and that's who I was speaking to, where they were walking around. I'm like, I don't know what to say to these people. I don't really know what I'm doing here. And I was like, right, let's pick one. We picked one person at random, we went over, and I explained what I was doing. I was like, listen, I'm helping people to set up new accounts, and spoke through them, and she was asking questions, and when he was giving her a bottle, I was letting her take over a wee bit, and then I was joining in. Three-way conversation, chatted away, and left with both of us getting an account out of it after him laughing and going, we categorically do not deal with Amazon sellers, yet we still managed to open an account because of the personal connection. And I was able to demonstrate that to our client. She now has multiple wholesale accounts and is thriving, going really well. So if you are a client of this course, I will be having a meetup at the NEC in the springtime. If you're like, right, Eamon, I can't make that one, I will probably be back at the NEC in the autumn. The NEC is a great opportunity because there's so many different suppliers all under the one roof. Maybe not all of them you're going to be able to deal with, simply because they could be selling very niche items. But it's a great opportunity to practice engagement with suppliers. I will be able to take you around, hold your hand, not literally unless you pay, well, we could talk about that, but walk you around, help you get over any nerves you might have, listen to their bottles, teach you how to overcome them, try and get you set up with accounts, get you going, and from that you will be able to then build them relationships yourself, because wholesale is all about relations. I'm not by any means saying that this course is going to be flawless from the get-go. If anything, I would say I'm overly critical of aspects of it. But what I do say is that's why this is still at the discounted price. I'm expecting in a week's time somebody to email and go, hey, that link is not showing right, or you have a typo in this word here. How did you miss that? So that I have a chance to change them. But what I will say is you have my personal guarantee that if you're signing up to this course and you're struggling, I can't give you every hour of the day, but I will give you my time to make sure you make a success of this. I'm not saying this course is a get-rich-quick scheme for me. I wasn't too long ago that I was sitting in private Facebook groups laughing at people that were selling courses. I have actually lost friends because I joined iGen, but I genuinely love helping people, and I can see that from the values we have and the service that we offer, how much we can help people, and I really want to do that. So if you sign up and you're like, I'm not understanding this, or Eamon, that video is nonsense, I will take that feedback on board and I will action on it, and that is my guarantee. Mr. Jones, did you enjoy my one-man band for the last 5 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the work that you put into this, so without wanting to go over everything again, it really is best in class out there. So, I mean, there's different types of courses. There's DIY courses, there's done with you, and then there's done for you. This is a done with you course. So, not DIY, there is pre-recorded content. That's probably I would say, the initial stage. The real value that you're investing in here is this is a product for your business, not just for the next month. You've got support, ongoing support. So there's coaching every week. You've got access to Eamon, and you'll be able to tap into that as and when you need. So we have a ream of questions. A great question there about basically other sellers are selling so low it's impossible to compete. That's something that you can ask like that in our private Mastermind Facebook group. You get an answer straight away from someone who's navigated that issue. So there's a couple other things that I kind of wanted to pick up on.
Can I?
Oh yeah, go on then.
That's
guys,
an easy one to answer.
I want to drop a few questions, and we'll answer them, and we'll promise to cover every question about wholesale in general, and just if people are kind of on the fence or not too sure what's included, we'll cover those questions as well. So feel free to drop some more questions, guys. Over to you, Eamon.
Yeah, what I wanted to say was, as for the whole crashing prices, people like, how could they be making a profit at that price? I don't understand it. You will never understand the reasoning behind what another seller is doing. I was on a phone call with somebody last night. We were talking about a particular product, and I mentioned that I knew the names and phone numbers of the top 5 people that were selling it at below break-even price. And the response was, well, could you phone them and ask them to bring their prices up? So, Lloyd, I will ping you the ASIN, because you were one of them. If you could elevate the price up, that would be lovely. Not the price fixing is what we're doing. June, July, I got hit with storage issues, and it was strangling my business. And I think I sold about 2,000 units at a loss. So when you're sitting scratching your head wondering how that seller's making profit, you don't know if they're paying massive fees on storage of one pallet in a warehouse that they're no longer using, and they're just dumping stock. You have no idea what they're behind. They could have older stock that has a short shelf life, and they're just looking rid of it. And it goes back to a comment of you do you. Stick to your plan, stick to your pricing. If you can't compete in them, that's unfortunate, and you do what you can to mitigate that. But there'll be times when other people will just be selling at a price you can't compete with, and there's just no way around it. So yeah,
absolutely. There's a lot more to it than. Well, I think really, if we're kind of just trying to expand this out a little bit, Eamon, obviously a lot of people who are watching this are going to be OA sellers and maybe doing a couple of £1,000 a month, that kind of level, and the problems at that type of level. If you're doing OA and RA, it's kind of one of these things where we're going to expand out a little bit about just the economy in general. I remember, the first time I met Eamon was in Birmingham at the Autumn Fair. Is that 3 years ago? 2 years ago? Something like that?
Long enough. We'll not discuss.
Anyway,
it was
long story short, whenever you spoke to anyone at the Autumn Fair that time ago, it was a lot harder to open accounts and actually deal with people. From the last fair, everyone has realized this is the new normal. E-commerce, Amazon, eBay, your own store. If these guys are going to stay in business, if retail shops are closing, if the high street's closing down, they need to do business with Amazon sellers. They need to do business with eBay sellers. However, they won't do business with anyone. They are in these Facebook groups. They are looking at people, and they will only work in a certain way with certain people. So, thank you.
There is
an anecdote for that, Eamon. So I'll let you dip in and clarify that.
So there is a supplier, one of the first suppliers I actually set up with, and I was on the phone. So I have an account manager, and then I have another sort of like office contact person. And it's funny because my account manager, I never speak to him. He just disappears. But the girl, I speak to her weekly via email or phone. And on the phone to her a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned I was doing this. I said, I might want to interview somebody within the business, for the program. And they're like, yeah, sure, we can do that, no problem. And I said, go on, tell me, do you get many applications a day? And you're like, yeah, maybe 10 or 20. And I was like, are they all professional? Going, here's my VAT number and here's my company information and here's what I'm selling. And she's like, I was like, are some of them very broken English? Can you give me best price on this? And just really woeful. And she started laughing. She's like, yeah, man, I can't comment on that. And then she started telling me some of the ones that just get passed around the office going, look at the state of this email we've just got. Do they honestly think we're going to sell them our product for them to just completely make a mess of it online for us? Like, we've spent millions. Like, some of the suppliers I'm dealing with, like one of the suppliers that I was speaking with a couple of months back, they were buying £2.5 million on 5 product lines from another supplier in England. And when Brexit hit, they were like, yeah, we're not selling you them. You're too much of a hassle. So when 5 product lines for a big retailer group in Northern Ireland at £2.5 million a year turnover was too much hassle, you phoning up with your £500 order going, can I have 3 of these and 2 of those and what's in the top shelf? They don't want to know you. So if you're going to be going with a limited budget to a massive multinational company to deal with them, do not be a pain in their backside. you have to be getting professional, going, here's what I want, here's my money, next week it'll be double, thank you very much, let's talk business, because they're too busy to be dealing with small fry. They will do it because they've sales targets.
Certain people will do it, yeah, and then you can kind of
No, they will all do it. They will all do it. Like, I have phoned Procter and Gamble and been like, I want nappies, Pampers, and they're like, great, yeah, sure, fine. Minimum order is £1 a week. And I'm like, oh, and they're like, if you can't do that, phone us back when you can. So they will all tell you if you can meet their criteria, but you have to meet their criteria, and you have to be prepared to put your big boy and girl pants on and deal with that. Don't be going hemming and hawing and I'll get back to you, and they'll just get fed up with you. So my one advice would be, it's not about the money you spend, it's about how you approach them and how you deal with those relationships. Like, I'm sure we've all been at a party and there's somebody there and they're being pleasant and you can have a lovely conversation with them. And then there's somebody loud in the corner that's being obnoxious, and they might be a really nice person, but when they get like that, you don't want to look at them. And that's not what you want to be when you're on the phone to a company trying to open an account.
Correct.
So,
well, we've got 20 people watching. We've got a few comments about trying to tackle a few of these comments that haven't been kind of discussed. So we've got Denver represented, Oma, and Colorado as well. And we've also got Chichester represented too. So I've got a few people kind of struggling with a few things. A bit more detail if you want to kind of tackle that. I think we've kind of tackled the other sellers selling so low. Is there anything else added to that? Yes, I think that person is just struggling with having maybe a generic list from maybe a wholesaler you can just Google, find a list from, and wondering why. Yeah, you can't.
Well, what I will say is, one of my videos is titled "Not All Suppliers Are Created Equal," and the following video is titled "Avoid These Suppliers." And they're ones that have been like, they're the plague, stay away from them, they're horrendous, simply because they propagate themselves to be wholesale suppliers, and then you go onto the website and you're like, minimum order 1. And they're online e-commerce, and they're like, yeah, we'll sell it to you in bulk. Realistically, if you want to come to my warehouse tonight and buy all my stock, Lloyd, you bring enough cash, you can take the whole lot. Like, of course I'm going to sell it to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I mean, the amount of time it would take, the amount of time you'd need to waste to build up a list like that on your own is incredibly valuable. So here's who to avoid. These guys are a waste of time. You'll waste your time, energy, and money on this. That's a pretty valuable list.
You love putting out, save £1,000 doing this emails. I've seen a couple of them. I will tell you, there's one name on that list, and I paid 20 quid a month, I think, for over a year before I realised, hey, you're flogging a dead horse here. So there's one list alone that I maybe paying 250, 300 quid before I was like, right, you're wasting money. So there's 300 quid I can save you just by telling you what name and telling you to run for the hills. And I still see it battered about Facebook groups and people going, yeah, it's great, I've just signed up to these. And you're like, good luck. So, yeah. I've seen a couple of Facebook messages, WhatsApp messages coming into me here, people saying about getting signed up. So, yes, there is.
Well, guys, you're very welcome. And I think I've said this before in other videos, and it's a hard thing to kind of realize unless you're kind of involved with it, that there's so much opportunity at the moment that I've been asked this, I'm sure Aidan's been asked this, we're actually kind of in competition with each other because we do have, pretty similar, there's a few wholesalers that we are both ordering from, and we're on each other's listings and stuff. But what I like about this, and the fact that I know Eamon, and Eamon is established business, and so am I, that if you can imagine that wholesaler that was talking about that we're both using, and they have all those applications all the time. If they get 18 applications a day that are useless, their guard is just going up and up and up and up. So there's a lot of free information about opening up wholesale accounts, how to do it, and it's not working anymore. There's other things that you need to be able to realize. There's other aspects to their business, especially with Brexit, especially with inflation at the moment, and especially with next year. So while there is a lot of free information on YouTube, and it's great, I would point anyone towards it, but there is another game that's being played at the moment. And what I would say is that the more people we can get playing the right game, the easier it is for everyone, rather than 2 or 3 people doing the right thing and everyone else playing like a kind of a low value game and just hammering the wholesalers and kind of not acting like a real business. So guys, you're very welcome to join us.
There's a couple of things to take from that. One, that list I give to somebody else, and they sent me a voice note this week going, "Lad, I emailed all 200 of them and not one of them got back to me." And they sent me a copy of the email, and I near cried. I was like, I'll phone 1 or 2 of them on your behalf. And they just chain linked everybody into the one email, which was a complete wrong tactic to doing it. We then have we then have the other tactic of some people like trying to crash the price, and I'll run at 5% margin and I'll scale up really quick. That's fine, but I know people that are paying 50, 80p a unit prep. I have mine at the minute down between 10 and 12p a unit. I can afford to sell it for 30p profit and still blow you out of the water. So you can be going up against sellers that are... There's one item I'm selling. For factual accuracy, I will do a quick search. Orders. I have sold 15 of them today. Would you like to know my per unit profit on those 15 items?
Yes, please.
I'm going to ask you to guess while I calculate my total revenue for the day on that.
So 15 sales of one ASIN today, and you're asking
what my profit is.
What your profit is on each ASIN. Okay, I'm going to say £2. Anyone else watching this with a guess? Any guesses coming through? No. Well, let this kind of filter through because there's a time delay. So if anyone can guess, whoever guesses the closest, Eamon will cough up the lead and provide that to you personally.
I'll not give you a supplier, but I'll tell you what I'll do. I will give you a year's supply of the product. And depending on the person, that might be a very small order.
50, right, so we've got 20% growth margin, I assume that is. 50p, 2 times 36.
They have to clarify, do they mean in total or per sale?
Let's say per sale. So yeah.
Oh.
Per sale. So we've got 40p. I would have went 49p, so it was 1 penny less than 50.
£75. I'm liking this.
25% gross margin on sale. Let's see who's pushing this. Sashai, 25%. June,
okay.
£75. David, 40p. Stephen Target. Good man yourself, Stephen. 50 pence. I hear Eamon still owes you lunch at the Galgorm.
You never showed.
Me lunch, and he never picked me up anywhere.
Tighten you. Right, so we've got a couple of close ones. Emma's saying £100
per ASIN from
Emma, sign up to this course. I think you need a wee bit of an education. No. Can I put a couple of people out of their misery? Hi, Jade.
Go on then. So we've got £2.36. It's very specific. Ben must know something that we don't.
Ben, ooh. He's close. He's close, Ben. I don't know what my margins are. I'd have to sit and calculate them out. But my profit per unit of those 15 units today, profit per unit, 6 pence. 6p. 6p. I have been fighting with another supplier or another seller for the last couple of months now, and I was like, right, can't beat them, join them. So I've joined them at his fixed price, and I am making 6p a unit on it, but I have 4,500 units, and they're taking up space, and I'm trying to get them shifted. So am I really even making 6p by the time I pay somebody label and box them? Break even, but I'm getting my money back. But that's what I'm saying. Just because you're seeing somebody making a lot of sales.
The winner of that mini game and the lucky owner of that lead is David. David Klimek. Feel free to message him, and he will provide you with that 6 pence per sale that he's prepped, sent in by FBO.
Oh no, I'm not giving him the lead. The supplier I got that from is golden. I'm not giving up the supplier, but I will send him. David, we'll have a personal conversation, and you can tell me just how many packages you actually would need for a year, and I will ship them to you. Yeah, I have mountains of them, and yes, I have another seller just plain silly buggers. But the thing is, they have 12,000 reviews. They're a massive seller, and that is their price on them. And I'm getting them from pretty much at source, so that's their profit. That's the profit they've set themselves. But there's a use by date on them, and maybe they've got a mountain of them with short dated, and they're looking rid of them, and that's their pretty much break even.
Yeah, cool.
But not to worry, so, I'll make money on it.
Yeah, we've got 19, 20 people watching. So, any other questions, guys? I think we'll get to kind of interesting stuff. Obviously, we've kind of mentioned margins and sales targets and things at the start. So we'll cover that. So we'll see how many sales at 6 pence per unit profit Eamon is making this month. It's Christmas, so nicely stocking fillers from Durex. I'm sure that will go down well. Cool. So yeah, it was interesting. We were chatting before this and just kind of discussing what to discuss. And whenever I set out on Amazon, I worked out that if you were to do £1 million turnover in a year, it works out at £83,000, 333, 33 cents recurring. I just thought it's really kind of nice number. It always stuck with me. So yeah, it's quite interesting, that number. Kind of interesting how it correlates this month, but I'll let Eamon kind of talk about what he wants to talk about, because yeah, over to him.
I'll be honest with you, I don't really want to talk about it because, well, there's a couple of reasons. One, it's a bit crass.
Right.
No.
Oh.
No, it's a wee bit sort of crass, obnoxious, and I got it thrown in my face a while back about how I'm always talking numbers on Amazon. I'm thinking, I'm pretty sure I've never really shared them on Facebook. I've alluded to them, but I've never really shared them. But yeah, I think for full transparency and for the authority factor of going, well, why would you listen to Eamon if he's only doing like 3K a month turnover? I think it's only fair that I show what I've done this month. Now, granted, this month is a decent month for me. It's Q4. If I'm not doing well this month, might as well pack up and go back to the teaching. But let me see if I can share my screen and talk through some of my numbers. So this should be me here. Thank you. So currently to date for the month, I've done 83,275, which I don't know how much of this I can zoom in. Let me see if I can zoom in on this a bit more. Yeah, so this time, this is for a snapshot of a day. So let me zoom for a bit. So we have done 9,000 units in the last 15 days, which is 7,600 orders. 83,000. Average order value is £10.89. So if anybody questions if I'm doing volume or not, I am doing volume orders. As I say, but that is my setup. I know there's people that are doing maybe 20, 30 orders a day at £200 or £300 a piece. And if they want to send me half a dozen of them leads, I will reward them handsomely. But this is what I'm doing. So you can see here, this is a comparative of the. So the top blue line is, I don't know if you can see my mouse here, but the top blue line is my month to date for December. The red line is the month progression for the last month. So that was November. And the orange line at the bottom is my December of last year. So I'm significantly higher this year than last year. As you can see, 2 days this month that I have dropped below 500 units ordered. Last Sunday was 935 units there on that spike. So that is the number of units that I'm doing. Let me scroll over a wee bit. If we come over to here to the graph, we can see. So last month this was for the 6th. It's just where I happened to take a screenshot from the 6th. I had done 5,600 for the day. That was on the 6th, so 9 days ago. Last month, my orders for the day was 1,500, and for the same time last year, it was 5,400. So I'm up a wee bit from last year, but if you notice the units difference, so for the 6th of December this year, I was only £200 higher than 6th of December last year. But last year it was 330 units. This year it was 623. So anybody that remembers last December, Gibson, Jigsaws, Smiths, lockdown, COVID, that's what I was very much focused on. This year I've changed tactic a bit. And yeah, there's like 1,900 units prep yesterday. That is why I'm able to do these numbers prep. The bottleneck of my business at the minute is trying to get full-time staff and balance the workload. But this is what I'm doing. If we move this out again, so if we look, last month, 95,500. Same month last year, I only did 85,000 for the whole month of December last year. And today I'm at 83,275. And that was when I screenshotted that. So by tomorrow morning, I'll have surpassed my December total for last year. Last month, I did 95k turnover. I would like to imagine, unless Amazon decides to put the banhammer on me, I will clear 100 grand for this month. And if we look at it, I will just quickly go into the app and have a quick nosy. Home.
Yeah, I think
147.5 for the last rolling 30 days.
I think it's pretty damn impressive, to be honest. And the reason why I was keen for you to share that.
So, wait,
yeah,
transparency. You said we were on par.
Go on then.
You said we were on par. So, you doing 100 grand this month?
Not this month. No, not this month. So the reason I wanted you to share that, obviously, if there's questions just come through, and we'll certainly answer it because it's a great question. It's incredibly impressive where you've come from, where you are now, from where you've come from. So if you want to tap into this knowledge and the experience that's here and avoid mistakes that, Eamon's made and, basically shortcut your way to the numbers that you want to get to, because it's definitely worth covering this type of question, Eamon. Get involved. This is not a 6 month access program. This is to get you up and running and to keep you up and running. And as things change, the support will change and we'll keep you updated with things. So I think it's a really good question. Just check who that is from. Ben. So from Ben, how much would we need to invest in stock when taking the course, and is there a limited number of spaces? So I'll let you cover spaces and price and how stock purchasing works against targets and things like that, mate.
So I started Wholesale a little bit before the Q3K challenge. My first order was 1,500 quid, and again, it was a volume order, and that was a minimum order that you could put. It was £1,500 you had to spend to get an order through. I have wholesale suppliers where the minimum order is £200 or £300. It's a very much how long to piece of string answer. Yes, you do need some cash to get going, and what I would say is you do need cash. There is some suppliers, like one of my best suppliers actually does take credit cards. For the most part, the rest of them are all bank transfers, which means when you see other sellers saying, "Hey, I just flew first class from Mexico to London and used all my capital on tap points, ceramics points," you're sitting going, "Yeah, if only my suppliers would take cash back or credit cards, I could be doing that too." It's a wee bit annoying, but nature of the business, you can't have it every way. So I'm not trying to avoid the question, but I would say is a couple of grand is what you'd want to be looking at to have a bit of money. Yes, you could say £200, but I'm only mugging you about there for say, oh, you can start with £200. You're going to struggle. You need a wee bit of money in the back pocket. Capital on top does allow you to draw down capital into your bank account, so you can still do it that way. But with any credit comes risk, so make sure you're confident in that one.
I think
One thing I've been asked, yeah,
Eamon, there's also a supplier that both you and I have leveraged recently that will probably be a live or an interview with in the wholesale blueprint. Begins with C.
C?
Well,
E?
okay. C for Charlie. Moving swiftly on.
Boris.
So yeah, I mean, I think the way to look at that is, yeah, a couple of £1,000 to be set aside for stock. More is better, but it's very doable with that amount. So
yeah,
at that amount, I would say that if you make a mistake, you'll be stuck on, you'll be holding stock for too long, and your wholesale journey might stagnate.
Right. I'm going to get a lot of flack for this one because people are going to, let's show seller sentiment and stuff like that. But
should I just end this live now then? If we're going to get a lot of flack for this, or
no.
Okay.
Integrity. So you put out a post the other day about doing £1,000 days, and I was sitting reading it, going, I am on target for this month to be doing £1,000 days. I expect to end this month having done £1,000 a day profit. That is where I am at the minute. Now, I can assure you the month of July was a bloodbath, and I only managed to scrape 5k profit that month. But that is what I'm on track to do. It wasn't even a target. It's just how it's panned out. So that is where I am. I actually feel a wee bit embarrassed to be saying that, but I'm on track to be doing £1,000 a day profit this month.
There you go. So there's your question answered. A decent sniff.
However, all that money goes back into stock. So anybody going to the Manchester meetup, no, I am not buying all the beverages, and Lloyd has.
I think the phrase "the milky bars are on you" comes to mind. Anyways, let's just find stuff. Certainly is. Okay. Mainly just want to gauge if the high turnover low margin path is rewarding enough. That's a great question because, yeah, I mean, this is all about money. There's jobs that you can do. Just go back to work rather than trying to run your own business. I get a lot of, for me personally, I love running my own business, first of all. I love having a team. We had our Christmas do over Zoom this morning. Feliz Navidad. So, Merry Christmas to everyone. And we sang songs and dance around like idiots and stuff. It was good fun. So that really is rewarding for me. I would say that the wholesale side of things, because I would call it a hybrid business, so it's half away, half wholesale, and it changes at certain times of the year. So what I really like about wholesale and what I'm going to take to my grave is a supplier in Ireland that payment has no chance of opening, and I put in a phenomenal amount of work to open up over the phone. Eamon keeps asking me who this is because I ordered desk fans off them over summer. Still, well, we'll pass it this month, but my biggest month was desk fans and summer items from that wholesaler because they were supplying Harvey Norman with these desk fans, and they phoned me on a Monday at 2:30 to say, Harvey Norman isn't taking these pallets. Do you want them? You need to take them this afternoon. I said, yeah, no problem. Get them delivered down to the warehouse. It was one ASIN. Can't remember how many numbers, but really basically turned out there was 3 pallets into FBA boxes that evening, got picked up the next day, and they all sold out over that really warm weekend. And yeah, OA is great. You can get cash back. There are different perks, and that's why I really like doing both. But if you enjoy speaking to people and actually having a bit of crack and having a bit about you, and you'll get phone calls like that, you'll get leads coming through, and Eamon's loads of anecdotes like that. But it is very fulfilling because, cash flow businesses are by their very nature, it's all about the money, but that's what OA is. So OA, you won't speak to anyone at Argos really. You won't speak to anyone within OA. You can do that from behind a laptop. So if you're that way inclined, OA is great. I like doing both, but if you want to get out in front of people, if you want to meet other people in the industry, if you want to perhaps, Eamon, you probably specialize in 2 or 3 different categories. If you want to specialize in something, wholesale is the way to go rather than, So in terms for me, it's that side of things is rewarding because you do speak to people and it's a different business than just OA. So, Eamon, in terms of how rewarding it's been for you, I think obviously you're further on, but you've got
I love it.
You absolutely love it.
Like, put it like this, I was chatting to Aisling about this earlier, and Liam sent me a message yesterday morning, and he was sitting with his laptop out, and he was going, mate, you need to outsource all this and get out to the sun. And I was sitting looking at a dreary morning and pissing rain. I was like, no, I absolutely love it here because I've got that order come today. They're coming out. I'm moving this out, and I spent 2 hours this evening, like brushing my yard, and the whole time I was brushing the yard, I was like, do I dump maybe 20, 30,000 into doubling the size of the shed? Or do I roll the dice, buy a greenfield site and build 6 or 8, anything from 4 to 10,000 square foot warehouses, keep one for myself, rent the rest out, and then as I grow, take over the entire lot until I become too big that I can't fail. And I'm sitting going, that's mad, because to buy a site alone, you're maybe looking at 100,000, and then at least the minimum we gain to do that again, $250,000 for a shed, it's a long stage in rent. I'm going, but the residual income of renting them out till I collapse and fall over. But that's when my mind thinks. I love being in the shed. I know, I love it. Facebook user there has asked to how long have I been selling? I've been selling since August 17. However, I sold from August to January. From January to April, I've suspended while I verified my limited company details. And then from December of that year, I've suspended again because I was buying job lots off Gumtree that didn't pan out well. So first year was actually only 6 months. I left my employment last January simply because it was a hard one, because Lloyd, I know for you it was very hard for you to give up simply because you were sitting on very good money and it was a easy enough job and you were like very comfortable. For me, I was getting good money as well. It was a reward. It was a job that I was at the pinnacle of already. But I still really enjoy it. And I've actually said that I would love to actually go back and do a couple of shifts soon. I'm in the process of getting paperwork up to date. I enjoy the job. It's mental, I know, but I enjoy doing it. I don't need the money. I might even just go volunteer. But January came, and it wasn't the point that I decided I was going full time at Amazon. It was I was in a 0-hour contract, and every time the phone, they'd be like, "Phone me tomorrow. I'm busy." And I never made a conscious decision to leave. I was too busy with Amazon, and I thought, when I get this done, I'll go back to work, and I still haven't it all done. So technically, still employed in a 0-hour contract. I just haven't worked for 2 years.
Yeah. My story's kind of similar, but so it took me. So basically, I was selling part time on Amazon. I've been working from home since 2017. My last job was working from home in this room. This has been my office for quite a while now. So I was quite well set up, working for very not that well in the industry unless you're in business, but yeah, kind of an industry leader in service provider. I was doing pretty well, very, very comfortable. And for me, it took me a year to go full time from deciding I've had enough of this, because my last job, I was there for 5 years. First 3 years were fantastic. And then they went through a private equity takeover. So when that happens, the atmosphere basically changes. Everything's really, really strict and all that type of stuff. So the job that I really enjoyed, very interesting, wasn't so interesting anymore, and kind of wasn't worth it. So that was summer 2019. Decided I'm really going to push at this. I then made 3 pretty big mistakes very quickly. Well, no, I would say 2 pretty big mistakes. Basically went far too heavy on 2 different ASINs, which then became brand restricted. Talked about that before. I then had credit card fraud of about £5,000, £60,000 over 2 or 3 cards, and that was after meeting. So I met Eamon at the Autumn Fair.
It would now be
go on then.
It would now be a bad thing to tell you that I swiped your cards and used them to buy stock.
Yeah. So this is what was it? So I went to Birmingham, met up with Eamon, had a great time, all these suppliers. Then flew to Portugal for a stag do. Went over a day early so I could do some purchasing and work. Tried to order stuff, couldn't, and I just thought, you know what, fuck it, I'm on holiday. Just because I'm abroad, I can't order anything. So long story short, the credit card fraud, got all that fixed, and it's kind of going into Q4 2019. Really kind of thinking, to bother with this seems quite difficult. Seems like a lot of stress, and there's 3 things that's happened that's been pretty challenging. So spoke to Luke, who was very helpful. Spoke to Thomas Parkinson as well, who's very helpful. And I mean, when I say spoke to Thomas Parkinson, sent him a couple of messages about things. I think I'd ordered something the price of tanks, and I kind of just started messaging him, and he was very helpful with the messages. And it really, I think the big thing with coaching and influence and things is that you can have quite a big impact on someone by something kind of insignificant. So he said something that you not remember, but it really stuck with me. So for things like this is why it's good to share your story and things. So for me, I made a decision mid 2019. COVID happened. Well, yeah. So hired my first EA from Thomas January 2020, and then COVID happened. I was then furloughed for a month, which I thought happy days. Furloughed, I could hammer this full time and get paid. I was then suspended the very same day on Amazon for price gouging. So I missed, basically, I was off Amazon for nearly a month. I was off Amazon for the month I was furloughed. So it's like, I'm now back at this job I really don't like, and I've missed kind of a month in March or April. So yeah, there's always something going on, but for me, it took me about a year, and then I left my employer 1st of July. So it's kind of mid 2019 to mid 2020. So that's kind of my story. Where we're at that. The first 5 years, yeah. Long story cut short. So inspiring stuff, guys. Yeah, hopefully that has been interesting. And
Well,
yeah,
what I'm going to do, I'm going to sort of turn the pressure on now. It's 8:30. As any of our clients will know, I have coaching starting at 9. So I'm going to give 10 minutes and I'm just going to say, guys, if anybody has any questions, you can reach out to Liam or myself and go through it. I think we've had somebody else just sign up there now, has messaged me, so that's fantastic. I sort of had a number in mind of the number that I had wanted to get maybe signed up before Manchester, simply because it'd be nice to get that done. And I'm pretty much there already. If it's something you're thinking about, I know I had somebody message me earlier going, hey, I want to sign up to this, but I'm not going to be able to engage with the content in January. I'm like, yeah, well, that's what a lot of people are doing. I don't expect you sitting stuffing turkey into your Christmas Day, one eye on the blueprint, one eye on the Queen's speech. It's there for you to engage whenever you want. I'm not planning to do any Facebook Lives this side of the new year. Probably this will be the last coaching call as well. Simply because we all need a break. But yeah, it'll be hitting hard from January. So anybody wants to get this now, spend a couple hours between now and New Year going through content and really starting to hit the ground running in January. This is your start. Let's face it, if you're on this call and you're doing well and you're this committed to Amazon, chances are the last 6 weeks have been pretty healthy for you. You can invest in yourself. You can invest in this course. It is fully VAT registered, so you can claim the VAT back, and you can write it off as a business expense. If that's not a good enough reason to give the money to yourself rather than HMRC, I don't know what else to say. Yes, there's going to be probably kinks need ironed out at the start of the course. It's a brand new course. But the flip side of that is if you watch a video and you're like, I don't understand this, I can re-record it and edit it and make it what you want it to be. So
you're getting in very early. You're an early adopter on something that's going to be built out. Yeah, this is a product for years, not a couple of months to the course. Think this is a great idea and never kind of get anywhere with it, because the main thing, and Eamon might seem like a bit of a pussycat on these calls, but that was disturbing. Guys, I think we'll maybe end on that before there's any more animal noises.
Like I said, I had 3.5 hours sleep last night. I am running on enthusiasm and adrenaline, so things will happen. But yeah.
Yeah, guys, you're very welcome, and yeah, feel free to.
One thing I would add out is
get in touch, guys.
There is more than one way to skin the proverbial cat. Like, I know these people saying, "Oh, I can't get it to wholesale. I have no way to take pallets at the house." I've had one friend who ordered from same company, and they were like, "Yeah, I'm going to have to cancel this order. I realized coming to pallet, can't do it." And they got it sent to me, and I prepped it for them. I know other people that do wholesale on a massive level, and they get Amazon to prep it for them. There is ways and means. So just because you haven't seen it on Facebook doesn't mean that it is not possible. And just because I haven't spoken on Facebook Live doesn't mean I'm not doing it either. Because while I'm not the king of black hats, I do have a nice little black one that I wear on special occasions. I know a couple of wee tricks. Some of them are in the course. Some of them I can't record because that could be used in evidence someday. But I can teach you a thing or two.
And on that bombshell,
boom, boom.
Boom, boom. Cheers, guys. Yeah. Awesome having so many people on for so long. So thank you for spending your evening. Yeah. Get in touch with us. And, yeah.
Anybody's interested?
With a bang.
Drop me a message.
Go, guys. Have a good one.
See you later, guys. Thanks for watching.